guys, my name is QuartX and today I have a tutorial for you guys on making this scary little dubstep growl. It sounds like this. So yeah, let's get ahead with making it. So I use all factory wavetables for your ease, so you don't have to download wavetables if you want to remake it. So yeah, I use the Monster 4 wavetable, which is under the spectral section of the factory wavetables, and I use the basic CJW sine wavetable under the analog section of the factory presets. You could essentially use a sine wave because we're basically using frequency modulation. But anyway, so I've created this LFO shape which helps it to get these two growls in one synth. So like the first one is different and the second one is different. You see both the growls are different sounding. So that happens because I've used this two-way LFO shape and my rate is at half. So if I put the rate at 1 bar, it's basically gonna, like, you can get one full growl, like, and then you can continue with your track. And you can also put it up to like 1 by 4th, and you could use it. You could do that, but I don't know, like whatever. You can like play around with this preset and do many stuff. So yeah, I took the Monster 4 wavetable and I put it down by 2 octaves to get the bassy feel. And I modulated the wavetable position with the LFO to get some movement in it. Otherwise, if I bypass it, it's basically going to be like almost the same, but you know, it's gonna sound a little stale. So like there's not much in it, so it just adds a little bit of movement in it. So, and I've modulated the FM from oscillator B. So I've taken FM from oscillator B, frequency modulation, and I've modulated the frequency modulation with the LFO shape. So you know, whenever you hit a key, the FM kicks in, and otherwise it doesn't. Like, yeah, obviously. So like it's basically like an automation clip in your FL Studio or whatever DAW you're using. Yeah, and I've set it to triggered mode. So like if it's off, it sounds. You never know where it's gonna start from. So with triggered mode, it always starts from the 0 position. So like that. And then in the FM oscillator, I've put down the level to 0 because we're just taking the frequencies, like we're just taking the FM signal, and we're not really using the sound of the wavetable. And I've pitched it down by 2 octaves. Now this is a very interesting part because when you pitch it down 2 octaves, it sounds like this, and you can like pitch it up like 2 octaves to get a completely different sound, which is like completely different in character. So you could use it in various ways. And then I got this Maltese high pass 12 filter, so high pass 12 dB filter, in which I modulated the cutoff with the same wavetable. So I've put it down to 0, and whenever you hit a key, it basically takes out all the low end from both these oscillators, and the sub oscillator, which gives it the sub bass. It's a very cool, thing provided by Serum. I've directed it out. So this is another function, because if I did not direct it out, it would basically get affected by the high pass filter, and there would be no bass in the entire thing. So like if I put this off, it sounds like this, and then you could add a separate sub layer, which many people prefer to do this. And then I put up the resonance, so you get this peak up here, the resonance, and I modulated the frequency, which is basically this band, downwards. So whenever you hit a note, these two peaks basically kiss each other in a way. So as you can see over there, right? And in the effects section, I basically added a bit of tube distortion and some multiband compression, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like you could play with the gain and threshold to like change with the compression and maybe the volume. And now I've added the reverb filter. Now you'll see what it does. If I put the mix level to 100%, it's gonna sound like this. Total reverb filtered bass. So it's not reverb, it's not this, Okay, that sounded cool, but okay, but it's a reverb filter which is also available here. You could like take it, but since I'm using the high pass here, I use the filter from here. Now this essentially adds a bit of a metallic feel to the whole thing, so I kept it at 50% because I wanted to retain the general character of the growl, but I still wanted to add the metallic feel. So without it, it sounds like this, very generic little growl. And then I added this, so it kind of changes it, you know, kind of, right? And now if I add some reverb, it's gonna be like, so yeah, whatever, don't use reverb because it's a bass. But yeah, and then I have some effects affecting it. If I turn off all the effects, it's gonna sound like this, which is kind of not impressive, right? So what am I doing in the effects section? I've added a bit of sausage fatness. Now believe me, this does something. It does a bit of like compression, I guess, but then it helps. It really does help. Like many people ridicule this, but then yeah. And then I've done some upwards downwards compression by using the X-Ray Records OTT, 15% depth, because I don't want to accentuate like everything. And then I've done some EQing, which is not the ideal EQing if I was using this in a track. So I've accentuated the low end a bit, and I've accentuated the high end a bit, and the mids I usually put down, but for this one it kind of worked good in that way. And then the luff filter is totally not affecting it. I use this in my tracks, and I basically loaded up one of my mixer presets which I created, so the luff filter is there. And the one that affects it the most is the Camel Crusher. It's a free plugin, and what I'm doing is I've turned on the fat mode. I'm actually using the Annihilate patch, which is like the first patch you get when you open it up, and I've put down the compression amount, and I've put down both of these, and I've done a bit of tube distortion and a little bit of mech distortion, which really affects it a lot. So you know, I'll put these effects on, and I'll keep playing it. I'll loop it. I'll just loop it, right? Yeah, and I'll slowly start adding one effect after the other, and you'll see how they change it, right? So I'll start now. Now this is extremely interesting because in a way it accentuates the sound a bit, but then if you look at the meter over here, up over there, it actually limits it also because it acts as, because there's a compressor module over there. So if you look at the meter, it actually gets limited at a certain point, although it accentuates it. So it's very interesting, and that's how you can basically shape dubstep, elements. And it's very interesting using this plugin. You can also use, you can use various plugins. Citrus is there, Massive, Harmor, many plugins. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and if you want more videos, please subscribe to my channel. Just smash that like button, and you'll see me in the next one.